Hello and welcome to another episode of Cards Unbarred. My name's Ryan, and in this video, I'm going to show you a two-player playthrough of Eternal Decks for Stage A on Expert Mode. Now, in the rules video, I showed you how to play Beginner Mode, and in this video, I'm going to be doing the Expert Mode. This is actually the first time I've ever done Expert Mode. I've only ever done Standard or Beginner a couple times, so we're going to see how this goes. Now, I have set everything up already for a two-player game, but it is just going to be me playing. So I will try my best to show you what a two-player game looks like. However, there isn't another player here, so things like the communication discs aren't going to be as necessary in this playthrough, but I'm still going to use them so you can see what they'd be like when they're in use. And of course, I'll have all information on both hands, but I'm just going to try and play it as best I can so you can at least see how a two-player game of Stage A plays on Expert Mode. So with that in mind, I have the green player and the yellow player, and because it's the two-player game, each player does start with extra cards. So the green player has 2 from the blue deck, and the yellow player has 2 from the red deck. And everything's been shuffled up. All of the Eternals have been shuffled up as well. And because we are playing on Expert Mode, the middle and bottom row of the field have the 8 field cards that are just shuffled up randomly together. So I think we're ready to get started, and we'll just have the green player go first. I mean, I guess I should look at my cards and do the actual thing. And just for the video, so again, you can sort of play along with me, I'll keep the hands face up so you can see what's going on each hand as I'm looking at everything. And you can see if there was maybe a better play that you would have done than I didn't. Now let's see here. We will actually have the yellow player go first, and we're going to have them play the 1 there. Draw a card, so they're drawing back up to 3. Now, of course, I'm going to just sort of play the game. If you do want a full rules video on how to play the game, you can check out my video where I discuss that. As far as this goes, we're just going to get right into things. I'll go over the field cards and anything else that might be more detailed that didn't come up in that video as they show up. So let's actually do these 2 now. The forest means I cannot play consecutive cards next to each other. So if I play a 4 here, the next card can't be a 3 or a 5. It could be any other number. And of course, the common placement rules still apply to all of these. And the grassland is one of the easier ones. I can play any of those numbers. Doesn't matter the order they're in. I just can't play 5s, 6s, and 7s. I can play any other number there. It's like one step up from being a little bit harder than the camp. But anyway, it is the green player's turn. We do have a 2, 3, and a 5. We could easily play a 2 here. Again, I'm going to try and do the communication discs. With yellow having a 3, 4, and 5, they could easily do that, and green could finish off this. They also have a couple of cards that can be played over there, and green could probably, I mean, again, this one's relatively easy right now since we have our starting decks of 1 through 5. It makes the forest a little bit easier on not worrying about consecutive numbers. It's really just about the colors we're wearing. I mean, yeah, again, right now, I don't think this is as much importance, but I just want to show you how the communications discs can be used. Anyway, let's get to it with green playing a 2 there. And now they're going to have 3, 4, 5. We both have 3, 4, 5s in our hand. So I think yellow is just going to play theirs there. Flip that over. We're going through the mountain pretty quickly. We are aiming for the king deck. Now, having played Stage A quite a few times before, going for the king early is usually a good play because the king has a 1, 5, and 2 9s in their deck, which is the easiest way to try and get the 1, 5, 9 point and also the jewel for covering a curse. Additionally, your starting cards are only 1 through 5 and the king's curse is a 6. So as soon as we were to activate the king, no one even has a 6, so that's not even something we're worried about. So that's typically what I like to try and do is go for that Eternal. And then usually after that, we then assess the situation based on the field cards or wherever else is going. So let's see, we're back to green. And I could just finish off the row playing the 4 there, but because I have that option for a little bit, making sure yellow doesn't get blocked out of anything, I do want to start working on some of these. And I think we're going to start working on the middle row, and we will just do a green 3, flip back over. So we have a 1, 4, and a 5. Now, Yellow can't play the 2 or the 4 here because of the consecutive, so they could play their 5. And they could also play a 2 and a 4 down here. So I think to continue this middle row going, they're going to just do that. And now they're drawing into the red cards. So we are getting kind of low. We do need to consider grabbing a deck for this player and also the green player, which they can pretty much get this at any time, which I think they're going to just do that now. So they're going to go ahead and clear this row. Like I said, I'm going to take the king. So we take the Eternal, flip the king over. The deck was already shuffled during setup, which I did off camera. So I'm just going to put it underneath my player deck and then draw back up to 3, clear this row. Now, all of these cards, as you saw in the rules video and as you can see on the game board, you're supposed to put them all face up in a discard pile here. But I actually like to be a little bit more efficient with my put away, setting away the game. And I actually just take them off to the side. This is going to be off camera, but essentially I look at their backs and I just put them in their piles off to the side. So when the game is done, I have my stack of 8 cards just off to the side with all of them, and I'm ready to play the next stage or ready to put the game away. So I'm not going to be putting any more cards in the discard pile just because of that. I'm going to be putting them off camera in their matching stacks. But that was the green player unlocking this row. So we do need to finish moving these over. And now it is on to the yellow player. Again, I haven't used these communication discs. I'm probably going to keep forgetting to do that just because, again, it's me playing. But let's see, the 1, 4, 5. They probably want to say that they could use that 1 up here. We really need to focus on them getting a deck. And they could play a 2, but their red is a 2, and then they would have a yellow as a 2. But they could play the 4 because it wouldn't be a consecutive if we did a 2, then a 4. So they could actually finish this row on their own. So I think we're going to let that happen. So yellow is going to communicate both of those. And then that means that green is just going to stick with that one up there and not need to use the other one. The problem is with doing this communication thing and focusing on that, I'm probably going to forget whose turn it is. I am pretty sure it is now the yellow player's turn because green just revived the king. So we are going to do what we just said by placing that card here and flipping over. So they have a 2, 4, and a 5. And now the green player is going to just start up the mountain with the 1 and flip a new card. And coming back over here, I think they're just going to go ahead and finish the middle row and play their 4. So now yellow has completed this row. Now we do have a couple options. We haven't done any passing yet. And again, because of the way I'm playing with all this face-up information, it's going to be a little bit easier than a regular 2, 3, or 4 player game. So I probably won't have to pass until later in the game. So I don't know how important the skeleton's going to be right now with getting an extra pass. I do think the witch might be good, only because the generating a jewel for free if I'm starting to unlock Eternals pretty quickly. And of course, the ghost is actually kind of a non-ability because the hands are always face up since I'm seeing everything. So really the ghost doesn't have an ability at all, unfortunately, in this weird multi-handed play I'm doing. So with that in mind, I'm going to take the witch. So we'll put the witch face up here. They don't have a player deck anymore, so the witch just immediately becomes their player deck, and they're just going to flip over a new card, and they actually just got the witch ability, so we'll be able to generate a jewel off of that, which can immediately negate both of these. And this isn't something I've been too focused on during gameplay, but this is one thing that's easy to forget. Constantly check and remind yourself and all players what the active curses are. Currently, I can't play 6s or rares, and it's pretty easy to forget when you're focusing over here what you do. So just when you play things, always try and double check what's going on. Anyway, let's clear the rest of this row, getting these cards off to the side. And that was the yellow, so now we're back to the green player. And let's see, we have a 2, 4, and a 5. We have a 2, 5, and an ability card. We could put the 2 in the mountain. Oh, actually, before we continue, another thing I wanted to make sure I don't forget. Once we've cleared this middle row, so this is something that's new when you use multiple field cards, whenever you complete a row for the first time, you remove the field card that was there to introduce a new rule. So now to complete this row, we're following the lake rule. Once we complete it again, we'll discard that, reveal a new one. Same thing, discarding it again, reveal a new one. That's also what's happening on the bottom row as well. In beginner mode, you always have mountain, cave, and camp, so those never change. But you have to remember once you clear it to remove them. The mountain is always going to be the mountain for this whole playthrough. That's never going to change. But the lake can actually be kind of an annoying one. So to get it this early is kind of good. So it allows us enough early game to get our starting player colors on there to start the cycle a little bit easier. We do also have some purples from the witch to help with the purple color part if we need that. So yeah, with that in mind, we're actually going to probably pivot. Instead of putting a 2 here, we are going to probably place here. Let's see, if we did a blue, the next thing would be green, which would be us. They'd be yellow and red, and we can come back to blue. Probably get a purple in between then. It's not a perfect 1-2, but I think that's what we're going to do. Let's actually do the blue 4, so we can still keep the 2 there if we want it. And then coming over here, so again, green is the next color, which is going to be over here. They don't have green. So I think to bide their time, we are going to just generate a jewel using the witch ability card. And again, this would go to the discard pile, but I'm putting it off to the side for my ease of setup and takedown. And we can generate any one of the jewels since we haven't done them yet. We just can't do the 159. Usually the 3 of the same number is the harder one. That's typically the one I use with the witch ability. And I don't see a reason why not to do that now. So we're just going to take that and we're going to cover up the 6. We don't have any rare cards. I don't see us getting rare cards for a little bit, but we are going to start grabbing some 6s because the witch does have a 6 in their deck and probably get some others soon. So that was the yellow player. They're now going to flip their card over. And that is a purple, which is nice for the lake here. So again, the next one's green. We're just going to keep the lake going along. Flip that card over. I apologize if I'm talking a lot. Hopefully this is helpful what I'm saying. This is my first playthrough that I've done. So I just want to make sure that it's not completely silent and I'm letting you know sort of what I'm thinking through when I'm taking these turns. So hopefully this is helpful. And if not, maybe you could just listen to it on silent while you're watching and have some background music playing or something. Anyway, coming back to the yellow player, if we want to continue the lake, it would be yellow, red, and then blue, which right now with our combination of characters is pretty easy without even needing the purple. But we do want to consider some of the other rows, like we haven't even touched the bottom row yet. So maybe we only have the 1 red, and between these characters, the king is the only other red. Since we didn't start with more than 2 red cards, and this is the last one, I think we really want to use the red card for red. So we want to leave that there. So I think we'll have them play the 2 up here, which will allow the green player to play their yellow card up in the lake area. Now we do want to be mindful that we hold on to this 9, because again, we're trying to get that 159 jewel from the king deck. So we want to pretty much reserve this card for that recipe. There is a second 9 in here, so we could spend one if we really need to, but ideally we're trying to hold on to it so we can get the 159 as quickly as we can. But that was their turn, so they're going to draw back up. And now we come over to the green player, knowing we need to put a yellow. We're going to do that yellow 8, reveal, and look at that. We've got the 1. So now we just need to play this 2, which is going to end up being in the grassland, and we're going to try and dig for that 5. But we come back over to the yellow player, and they communicated they wanted to play there. And we do have the red. Oh, this is perfect. We've got the red, and then they can play the blue to finish that off. And I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to just put the red here, flip a new card, and green. Now let's actually see, because they're about to generate a 3-card jewel depending on when we get it. So they're going to be running through their deck a little bit quicker than the yellow player. So I do think we want the green player to be the one to get the new deck. So what I'm thinking is when you're cycling through these cards and you have to worry about who's getting a new deck, typically you want to just go back and forth. The first person to get one should be the third person. The second person should be the fourth. But once you start to do these generating of jewels, you're discarding more cards at a quicker rate than just 1 and 1 and 1. So because we know they're going to be doing the 159, I think we're going to have them get the new deck. So we're just going to have them play the blue card. And we're just going to verify that this was correct. Blue, green, yellow, red, blue. Perfect. Let's move that away. So they now get to unlock a new character. And like I said, the ghost ability doesn't really help us, but actually looking at what cards are in their deck and what the curses are is something that I'm more worried about at this point. Not being able to play a 5 or a 7 versus a 2 or an 8. I'm not sure how long it's going to take for me to find that 5 to know when I can generate that jewel to cover these up. So this could actually be an issue. Like we do have a 7 and an 8. The 7s can't be played in the grassland. So we're more likely to want to play the 8 and the 3 and everything down here. So I think we want to take the ghost so that we don't block ourselves off with the 8 if we don't end up generating a jewel soon enough. Of course, again, we can pivot and use these for jewels, but ideally we're just doing the 159 now. So yeah, I think we're going to do that. We're going to take the ghost and reveal the ghost. Again, I already shuffled the deck, putting it under, nope, wrong side. Putting it underneath over here for the green player and sliding this over, clearing the row, and then also removing the lake for the new one. So now this one is even numbers only. So 2, 4, 6, 8 is all we can play through that whole row. All right. And I guess I should draw a card. Oh, beautiful. We got the 5. So now we have a 159. If we were actually playing multiplayer, I'd be putting both my discs here to communicate. I've got the 159 now. So we're going to be generating that jewel and getting our first point, which again, we need 4 out of the 6 possible points to win. We're also going to be 2/3 away from getting this point. So we might want to consider doing another jewel, even if it's one of the quicker, simpler ones, just to knock all of these out and not have to worry about it. But we'll worry about that in a little bit, since it is now the yellow player's turn. And like I said, we haven't even touched the bottom row yet. And that's going to be the easiest row to complete now that it only takes 4 cards, and it's also one of the easiest field cards. So I think we're going to start with that. The only thing is, if the witch goes and plays either one of their 3 or 8, it's purple, they go there, I then generate a jewel over here, it comes back to the witch. They won't have another option. Actually, we do. We'll have the 3 purple here. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to use these communication tokens almost for myself to remember what I'm doing. So we'll do the purple 8. I'll draw a new card. Then it comes over to the green player. They will generate this jewel. And remember, when you generate a jewel, this is the first time we're actually using cards for it. All of the cards come from your hand and you play them into the river. Get them in nice order there, 159. And now we've done the 159 jewel. So we'll take that and the point and get our first point of the game. And we are going to cover up the 5 and 7. And as mentioned in the rule video, I'm just going to say it here briefly. Whenever you generate jewels, you're playing the cards into the river. The river has no restriction on any placement, so you're allowed to play a card even if it is an active curse on one of the Eternals. Curses only ever impact the 3 rows in the field, which it's also reminded on the Eternal cards. It's got the little field icon. But that is the yellow player's turn, or the green player's turn, excuse me. So they need to now draw 3 cards to be back up to a 3-card hand. And we've got a 3 red, yellow 9, and then their A ability card, which is going to go here to try and get us this point. So we're now a third of the way there, but we haven't even gotten these 2 Eternals, so this point's going to be a while before we get it. But now we're back over here to yellow. Let's move these off since we've done that. Again, we were saving this 3 for here. We did draw a 4, which is blue, and we can play that down here. The only restriction we have right now is rares. We don't have any rare cards. We're 2 away from getting one of the river rare cards. And we did take the ghost, which does have a rare card, but it's in this player's deck, which we still have another king card before we get to those. But we do need to worry about how many cards we have over here. We've got 6 in total for the yellow player. So I think we're going to want to make sure they can finish this row. So let's see, if they do this blue 4, draw back up, then they will do the red 3. We can't play 6s. Can't play 7s, so that's actually probably a bad move. Let's do the 9. Yellow. Draw back up. And so now they could play their 3 to finish the row. But we're just trying to, again, check all of our other situations and what's going on based on what we're trying to complete elsewhere. Again, we haven't even touched our passing, giving a gift to a teammate or a card to a teammate. So like we still have that available, which is great. I don't think we need to use that now. So I do think I'm just going to finish the bottom row and have them get a new deck. We can move this. They don't have that 3 anymore, but they have a 3. So we'll put that here. And let's see, what do we want to unlock? We have a lot of yellows. We've actually gone to the king. So we're looking at greens and blues. So maybe we take Medusa. We haven't touched the river, so that's not a problem. So I'm trying to decide between the abilities on which one I really need right now. The curses are obviously an issue. Worrying about not being able to play greens or blues could certainly be a consideration. But I mean, they're about to be done with their witch deck. And if I actually counted cards and paid attention, I'd know how many of them are blue that are left. They only have 3 of them. There's 1, 2. I haven't played another one. So there is another blue in there. So the Minotaur might not be the best one. I'm not sure. I think I'm just going to take Medusa and we'll see what happens. Again, I'm trying to look at the numbers. 2. We want some even numbers, which Medusa actually has most. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, let's take Medusa. All right, sorry that took a little bit of time to figure out. So we put Medusa up here, put that deck underneath, clear these, and remove that. And so now we have Riverside, which is odd numbers only. And just putting these cards over here, and they need to draw back up. And we're sitting kind of pretty right now. We're both pretty full up. I mean, they just got a brand new one, and they did just recently. So I'm not too worried about that. We're now just having to worry about at what point are we going to end up starting playing to the river. But I think for now, green's just going to play their ability card, get that out of the way, and flip a 2. They have a 2, 3, 4, which could be nice. They could just 3, 4 it here. Let's see, we can't play red or red/green, so I can't actually play this 3 right now. Let's see, we might want to start considering playing or generating jewels to cover up either the rare or the red and red-green, which I think it's going to be that. Well, so the other thing too we want to consider is where are we going to get our other points? We definitely know we're going to get this one. That'll be our second point. We're most likely going to get this one for our third point. So now we're deciding really, is our fourth point going to come from the A Eternal abilities, this bottom 4th row, or unlocking all 9? Because once we know that, we can sort of path out our idea of where we want to focus. If we start focusing on all of the areas, then you might wear yourself a little thin, and that's when you really start to run into some trouble. I know right now it's seemingly looking like it's been a little bit easier, even on expert mode, but one, that's because, again, I can see both hands. That's a huge factor in it. Having full control over everything makes it a smidge easier, but also we've gotten some of the easy ones to come up front, and we've just been timing our stuff well. We're still in that latter half of the game. We've only got 1 point, so there's still plenty of game left to go. So let's see. We are going to have them play, I think we're just going to do an odd card down the riverside. And we'll draw back up. And again, we can't play red cards. We could actually just generate a jewel with 3 different colors, which I think we're going to do. So it's going to put the 3 cards in the river, which puts us at the 5 or more. So I'm going to be getting one of the river rare cards, but I will generate the 3 different colors. And I really want to put it here to get us this point, but I don't think we have to rush for a point right now. We can get that whenever we need to. I'm about to get a rare actually, which is a thing. So I won't be able to play that rare if I don't cover this up. And actually, now that I think about it, the red card was the one worry. But we don't have any more red cards because the red card came from the king. And at this point, there's no other reds. So actually, I am going to cover the witch up. We're going to get ourselves our second point. Going to clear these cards out and grab ourselves the first river rare. So this goes immediately into my hand. So that's part of my hand. Then I draw back up. And wow, I have 2 rares. So it was a really good thing that I covered the witch curse over, because that would have been a problem. This 9 would have been the only thing, which still could play there. But anyway, good thing I did that. So now we're coming to the yellow player. See, we have 2 evens and an odd. If we play the odd, it's a purple, so we can't play the purple down there. We have so much flexibility right now with rares. Don't know how much of a problem it is. Even if I did that, I could probably just play a rare. So we should probably focus on this. We really want to try and go for that point. I don't really have good numbers for that now. Let's just do the 5 down here. Flip a new card. And no, I don't need to draw. I need to play over here. I did play the 5 purple though, so I can't play the 9 purple. I can just do a rare though if I wanted to. Knock a rare down. And then another, they could play that 3 they just got, and then I could play a 9. Again, we're looking really good on decks. So yeah, sure, let's just try and rush it. Let's see what that does. So we'll go there. Only we can't do is red and red greens. So we're good. We're going to play the 3. They're going to draw back up. Coming over here, they're going to play their 9. And we'll clear this row. And get those cards over there. Okay, so we want... I think we're going to go the Minotaur is actually really bad with Medusa. But it's going to be a while before I start drawing the Minotaur cards. I can still generate a jewel. I like the ability of the Minotaur. The Kraken's both pretty good. They're both fine. I'm going to probably just take the Minotaur, though. So we'll put the Minotaur up there. These cards go underneath. This will clear. And now we have the swamp. So the swamp's one of the harder ones. It's similar to the lake that we had earlier, where you have to play the cards in that color order, but you can only play 1, 2, 3, or 5. 6, 7, 8, or 9s can't go in there along with that order. I also didn't really specify it in the lake, but the purple cards can be used to replace another color. So as you can see, it was probably self-explanatory, but you could play a green, but you could also play a purple instead. But you can never have 2 colors next to each other like normal, so you can't have 2 purples next to each other. So like if I did this green, it has to be a yellow or a purple. So we could put a purple there, but now the next one has to be a red because you can't do another purple. But again, that is going to be one we'll have to worry about here with our numbers. We do have some lower numbers, so we'll see. I'm actually kind of happy I grabbed the Minotaur now with these colors of changing with the red, green, and yellow, blue. I might be able to make that a little bit easier. We did get the ghost ability, which again, in a multi-hand game I'm doing now, is nothing, so it's pretty much just going to be a pass turn. But we're over here. The river rare is in my hand. I haven't played it yet, so this also won't be an ability that does anything. So I'm just going to have to hold on to that. Now, ability cards can also be used to generate jewels for the any 2 or any 3 cards. So like I could use that for this. It's technically a wasted card in the version I'm playing, but it does allow me to do that, which is kind of nice, which is probably what I'll end up doing. But for now, let's see, if we have green, we have blue, we could play blue, then green, but we can't play blue cards. So we can't do that right now. So our only option is a purple 6. We could start it with a purple. If you start with a purple, that just means no color's been picked yet. So the next thing can be whatever we want it to be. Same thing if you put a rare. It hasn't been decided what color's there yet. So that's kind of nice. And the 2-color cards. If I put a 2-color card, you technically pick the orientation when you place it, but it can be either one because the next one is the opposite. That might make more sense once we get to it. Sorry, this is just me sort of deciding on what I want to do, because I really wanted to keep this purple for the swamp, but I think it's going to have to go in the valley because I can't play the 2. I don't really want to waste the Medusa ability on this. I guess I could pass a card just to sort of bide time. I think if I pass a card, I could then generate at any 2. So yeah, let's pass. We're going to pass the purple 6 from the yellow to the green player. So that's their turn. And yeah, pretty much they can't do anything on their turn right now. So this is a good play because now we're going to spend any 2 cards, putting them in the river to trigger this. And we're going to cover up the Minotaur's curse. So now the yellow player can actually start playing cards again. And I'll flip and we're good because we can play greens. It's only red and greens. So coming over here, we're going to play, this is actually good, we got that. So we're going to play the blue card, flipping over a new one. We're getting into all the 2 colored cards. So now we're going to do the green 2. And so this has to be yellow, which we can do with the 2 color cards. We essentially just pick it. We technically have to choose the orientation, but because the next card has to be red, it doesn't matter the orientation, but we'll still do it that way to show that it's yellow. But let me finish drawing first. So now we'll go, we should also pay attention to which number we're doing. We might want to start saving these higher numbers for actually completing this top row. We have a lot of evens too. We could go 8, 6, 8. Again, this is the thing we got to worry about. If you start trying to laser focus on a row to get that point or do something else, and then you pivot and do something else, you end up sort of half working on them and you end up failing on both. So I need to be careful about that. But I will keep my options available with the even numbers. So I'm going to play this here, which is going to be yellow. So we have blue, green, yellow. We will draw back up. We have a lot of green out in play now. That's not as great. We can play rares. We could put the rare here to be the red, and then we'd have that as the blue. But we also need to worry about that. I do think we actually want to start using this rare so the Medusa ability can be something. And rares aren't going to start coming up to the Minotaur deck, which is going to be a couple turns. So I think to just keep ourselves as efficient as possible, we're going to do that. And we're going to come back over here. This has to be blue, which we can do there. I think we're going to do that. Seems good. And let's see. So many greens. Actually, we need a green here. So that's easy. We just can't put an 8 there. So we can do the 6. But we need the yellow player to be the one who gets a deck. So we're going to let them play their 2 there. So with that in mind, we're actually going to put this 3. We're going to start working on this top row again. It's been a minute. Okay, so now we're into the Berserker problem where now I'm not going to be able to play. So they're going to finish this. Oh, this is actually going to be really bad if I get the Kraken. Well, we're going to be doing some generating of jewels pretty soon. But I think we're going to do that. Oh my goodness. I just realized I'm not paying attention. Thankfully, I did this correctly. This 8 is illegal. I cannot play this here. Okay, so shoot. Let's just say we played that to the river just to make that easier. Wow, I'm glad I caught that. That could have been bad. So again, 1 to 5. The river rare or just any rares can be whatever number you want them to be. So that can be a 1 through 5. But that 8 was not allowed. Okay, so we're back on green. Right? Blue, green, yellow, red, blue. We're on blue. Yeah, that was a blue. Ooh, okay, that just made this a little bit more annoying. We don't have to worry about that curse coming up then. So, let's see here. This is a red that can go here, but I can't play red-green cards. So we might need to generate a jewel. I don't have, I do have any 3. I really don't want to use this for generating a jewel. I want to get that rare back over there. Because I'm worried that we might run through those sooner rather than later. Okay, so what I'm going to do, this probably isn't good. It's yellow's turn. I'm trying to find a way where I can pass a green card. over so we can do 3 of the same color. Because I need to keep this. Actually, I think, yeah, what am I doing? Have them pass it. They'll do it. So we'll have them pass the 8 because the 8 can't be used down there. So we're going to give a card to a teammate. Reveal that. And they're now going to generate a jewel of 3 of the same color. We're going to cover up Medusa's curse. That's going to fill up the river, which is now going to get another river rare card. We only have 1 left. We clear that again, we get a river. If we clear it again, we're going to lose. And that's really why I wanted to keep this card, so I can put one of those river rares back in there. But let me refill back up to 3. And we've got the Berserker ability card, which is nice. This lets me replace any card on the board. I just simply play it, and I take that card into my hand. And this acts as a rare card. So this can be very useful. But that was their turn, generating the jewel. So now we can come back over here. And we are going to be able to play this card here. And then we'll be able to play the green, which is good. Okay, so now we just have to take 1 turn playing this, which is going to be in here. I now have only 3 cards left. We then play the 5. Actually, no, it's a 2. We're good. Again, that 1 to 5 thing can be really nasty. So, wait, no, what I'm talking about. This has to be a blue. Why? Blue, green, yellow, red, blue. Why was I thinking this was red? They played the blue, they played the green. We can still go there. We're fine. That was a 6. We couldn't go there. Whew, it's a lot to keep track of when you're keeping track of all of it yourself. Okay, so I think I'm going to play the Berserker card then. I really want to take the rare, but if I take the rare and then we finish the row without it, it means I won't be able to trigger the Medusa ability because this won't be in the discard pile. But I have another one, so I could play it there. But then I'd be finishing the row, or green would be finishing the row. It's not so great. I actually think I'm just going to play this up here to keep the ascending going. And of course we rotated it red. Well, it's a lower number, so it's fine. Okay, so we come back over here. We said it needed to be blue. So we do that. And the last one is green. Again, we don't draw up because they don't have a player deck, so they just have 2 cards. But we'll be able to play this here. Oh my goodness, I'm now just realizing this. I noticed, oh man, this is really bad. This is what happens when you play on video trying to focus. There are 2 2s next to each other. I caught the 8, but I didn't catch those 2s. How do we fix that? It's been so long since I played that. I think we say we play the Berserker card here to do that. Apologies, I have tried to catch that, but thankfully I'm sort of getting it before it's too late. I haven't finished that row a couple times because of it. So it's a less than ideal trade for the Berserker, but it gets us back to playing more legal cards. I don't know if I had another option at the time to play. Maybe, hopefully I did, I'm not sure. But okay, that's their turn. So now we come back here and we're going to play that here. We have no numbers or colors next to each other. We have blue, green, yellow, red, blue, green. Okay, so yellow is going to unlock the Kraken. That'll go here. They have no deck, so they're going to immediately just draw into those. These clear. So again, the river rare I'm actually going to put over here just for Medusa's ability, since I'll be able to get that back. But the rest of them I'm going to put over in their piles off to the side. Okay, and then swamp goes away. And now the last one we have is desert. So this one now it has to be consecutive numbers. So it's the opposite of the one we had before up here, the forest. This one is, if you play a 5, the next one has to be a 4 or a 6. And then the next one after that has to be consecutive all the way through. And hopefully I can remember to make sure I do that. I've gone ascending here. That is an even number. Okay. And currently we can't play green or red-green cards. They're going to be using their Medusa ability for that. I have a bunch of even numbers. Okay, we're going to get our third point here. I can't play greens. I do have two of the same number if I wanted to use the rare. Just knock this out of the way. Let's see, they have a 2. We want to think about if we're going to get that point. Consecutive numbers. Currently, we're not looking so great with our decks for that. We have a lot of 7, 9, 5, 4 action. We're missing 3s and 6s. So this is actually going to be a pretty tough row to do. We've kind of waited a little too long to start this point gathering. It's going to take a while to get through that row, get the deck, get the thing, go through it again, get the one. So we did kind of put all of our eggs in our basket for this bottom row, but that's not a great one. Okay, so either way, this is still a problem. So I think we're going to do 2. Do I really want to use the rare for that? Actually, I just have consecutives down here, but I can't play the green. I'm coming back to the same problem. If we play the 4, they can't play off of that. They could put a 2 here. Ooh, okay, it's getting a little rough. All right, I think I'm going to regret this, but I'm going to do 2 of the same number, making that a 2, to cover that up, which will get us our third point. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but it's what we've done. Okay, that's a lot of red. These are consecutive. We do have a 2-1-2 action we can perform. So let's do that. 2. Oh, the Kraken ability. I forgot about that. That is going to be so clutch right now, especially with this 2-1-2 and 4. Okay, that's really good. So let's do this. We're going to do the Kraken ability to get any 2 cards from the river back. In this case, there's only 2. So we're just going to take those 2. They go into our hand immediately, which also means we now have 4 cards. So I'm not having to draw up, which is also nice. I should have drawn back up over here, though. So now they're going to play this 2. And because we got these back, we have a 3 and a 2 to go there. We also want to be mindful of this 4. We have another 4. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Okay. We have 2 9s. We could just place this 9 here. They only have 4 cards left. I'm going to give a card to a teammate. That's our last pass. Like I said, at the beginning of the game, we don't have to worry about that, but it's actually becoming a thing, and now we have none left until we get that skeleton or get a 4th lap bonus in the middle. But I think I'm going to pass this 9 over here. And then they're going to immediately play that 9. We have to be mindful. We want to be able to play 4s because we've got a lot of those. We could immediately block it with this, playing a 9 to get that jewel, so maybe it's not too much of a problem. They're going to be next. I'm going to do this because it might take me a second to think what I want to do. We want to think about this consecutive number thing. If we make this a 3, this is a 4, then a 5, we would need a 6 or back down to a 4. Is that how many? We need 4 cards? 1, 2, say 3, 4, and another 3. No, the 5, 4. So we actually have it. Oh, so we're good. We just can't play 4s. Or we can't take the mermaid to not be able to play 4s. So then we do this, put that here. Now we come back over to them after we clear the top row. Slide this over. Put those cards off to the side. And then go again. Okay. So now we wanted to play the rare. I still have 3 cards, so I don't draw. We can't play 1s. That's our only restriction. We're going in order. I'm just double checking myself, making sure I didn't mess anything up. 2, 1, 2, and then essentially any number I need it to be, which would be either a 3 or a 1. I'm going to make it that a 3. And then this will be a 4, which doesn't matter the rotation because we're going to be playing this card and that card. So we draw back up. They play here. Draw back up. They play their 4. And that gets us our 4th and final point. Woo, okay. Wow. So obviously there was just a couple errors down that bottom row, but thankfully I was sort of able to catch them in time before I finished the row to make sure I made it work out. But yeah, that was stage A on expert mode, sort of 2-player. Again, the multi-hand, I apologize, but hopefully that gave you an idea of how the game plays to give you a feel for what it's like. And of course, this was just stage A. As much as I love this game and enjoy stage A, I think it's truly an introductory level or stage to the system of Eternal decks. B, C, D, E, and F is where things get really spicy. The whole collecting points and winning that way is only stage A. Every other stage, you actually have to collect these key tokens. Let me grab them. Hello. There's these keys that you're trying to get instead. When you gain points, they're just bonuses. You will get bonuses that help you to collect these keys, but getting points no longer wins the game. So there's more puzzles, there's more interactions going on, which again, there's still a lot going on, as you can clearly see, even just from this one. I really think that this is a good one to introduce you to the game. But if you wish that the game had a smidge bit more to it, then absolutely check out the other stages, because there's a lot more going on with them that I think make it a little bit more interesting, even though I absolutely love this game to bits every single stage. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.